Hello viewers, welcome to your program Development Zone, where we celebrate achievers, unveil the core potential of our dear nation, and also celebrate those who have contributed immensely to the development of our great country. Today on the program, we'll be talking politics, and we'll be chatting with barrister Hannatu Musawa. She is the deputy spokesperson, APC presidential campaign. She will be unveiling to us why Nigerians need to vote Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and reasons why he deserves to own that seat. Sit back, relax. I'll be right back.
Nigerians should vote for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu because of all the candidates. I believe he's the one that has the sort of vision required to identify all the troubling issues in Nigeria and to prefer solutions for them. He's the one with the courage, he's the one with the clout, he's the one with the most capacity, he's the one that has already proven himself. What he did in Lagos, you know, we talk about what he did in Lagos, but Asiwaju has gone beyond that. What he has done in many parts of the country, the kind of human capacity he's been able to build. This generation, there's not been one politician or one human being in Nigeria that has built the sort of human capacity that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been able to build over the years. And we go back to Lagos again, and again it sounds sort of trite because all the time we talk about what he has done in Lagos. But in all honesty, when we do look at Lagos prior to the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the governor of Lagos and the Lagos that we see today, we take it for granted that Lagos is so developed compared to other parts of Nigeria. But it's because of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and had he not been in the position that he was in to sort of pivot Lagos to the place that it is, Lagos wouldn't be what it is today. So when we look at Nigeria as a whole and the sort of programs that he has in place, which is within his action plan, the different programs that he has for the economy, for digital economy, for the housing, for education, in terms of agriculture, in terms of insecurity, in what he will do for women, for the youth, so many other areas. I think Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been able to prove himself to be able to deliver. And then with the action plan that he has now, he's proven that he has the ability to sort of guide Nigeria into a more progressive future. So I really do think we should vote for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu based on those factors that I've mentioned and even more. All the parties, APC in this election cycle has done something that no other party has ever done since the coming of democracy. In addition to having the Presidential Campaign Council, which has different directorates catered specifically for women, the APC has also been able to create a campaign council that is solely led by women, and of course led by, God willing, the future First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. So you already have now, before coming into power, you can see how it is very important, not only for ABC but for Asiwaju, to empower women, give them the sort of independence that they need in order to operate in a way that would encourage women and to take women along. So you have that campaign council, which is going all around the country. And that alone has the ability to sort of encourage women to vote. And then again, within our action plan, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a framework for trying to better the lot of women if he comes into this administration. He talks about having women inclusion within his cabinet, a large percentage. He talks about appointing women into very key agencies. He talks about liaising with the National Assembly to see if we can be able to attain that affirmative action. He talks about liaising with the party to try to create more avenues where women can not only emerge within the party structure, but that would encourage women to go for elective office more than what we've seen in the past. And then even within that, he talks about other areas that touch on women, things like domestic abuse, issue of rape, what is the repercussion for some of the vices that are impunged on women. So he goes a full hog in trying to address issues that really matter to women. And at the same time, you know, of all the campaigns, Asiwaju was the first one to appoint myself, who's a woman, in a key position of deputy spokesperson. Before he had done that, nobody had done that. And even within our party structure, there are many women that have been appointed. So you see that already there's representation. And when women on the ground see one of their own in certain key positions and are in a position where they're able to speak for issues that matter to them, you know, it encourages them to look at this particular candidate as someone who understands their plight and who is ready to sort of give them the prominence and the platform that they need to be able to cater to issues that border on, that matter to women. So I think with all these sort of facets of representation, I think it will help with the women vote. And those of us within the party are doing a lot to try to reach out to all the women, even within in the most rural parts of the country, to encourage them, because the women vote, I think, we talk about the youth vote, but the women vote is absolutely crucial. And we're not taking that for granted at all, and we're doing everything in our power to ensure that the women vote affirmatively for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. First is, yes, Atiku. I will talk about the Atiku aspect. For me, I think Atiku is of course, a very serious contender. And I think of all the aspirants, Atiku is the one that is likely to be the one that gives us a sort of run for our money. But even with that, I mean, this election, without doubt, is between APC and PDP. That's the bottom line. And but with Atiku, it seems that his house seems to be crumbling even before our eyes. And even if it wasn't, I think APC and Asiwaju has an upper hand. But his house, the house of PDP, is seriously crumbling. On the eve of election, they've already lost 5 governors, crucial governors. And you can see a lot of defections from within the party. Now you have issues of his own inner caucus from when he was in office before, coming out with tapes and accusations of accusations that are likely not going to help him to be able to brand himself and sell himself to the general public. So yes, Atiku is a contender, and I see him as the only one that has the ability to completely stand up to the APC, between APC and PDP. But even within that, he does not have the ability to beat Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And with what is happening in-house, it's made it very progressively more difficult for Atiku and the PDP to record a victory in the upcoming election. With Peter Obi, what I see with Peter Obi is a great addition to this election cycle. The inclusion of Peter Obi and the momentum, the movement that he's created, has sort of opened up the conversation, and it's made it more colourful, which is a very good thing for our democracy. This is what we want. And he comes across as a serious contender, and maybe in the future, if he can keep his movement going, he could be a serious contender. But this election cycle, it is, and I've said it in many interviews in the past, it is actually constitutionally impossible for Peter Obi to win this election, based on Section 134 of the Constitution, which requires a geographical spread. Peter Obi cannot win this election, even if he has every single registered voter within a certain area or voting for him, he can't win. Because you have to win not only a simple majority, you have to win 2/3 in at least in 24 states. Peter Obi does not have the ability to do that. And you talk about the youth, especially in the South, and on social media. Yes, he has a lot of support on social media. He has a lot of support of youth, specifically in the southern part of the country, but even in the southern part of the country, in maybe the southeastern part of the country, because a lot of the youth in the southwestern part of the country are actually supporting Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because they see him as one of their own. Now we come back to the youth in the north. There are youth everywhere in this country. It's not only on social media. I go for campaigns with my gubernatorial candidate in Katsina State, Dr. Dukorada. I'm the secretary of the campaign council in Katsina, so it behooves me to follow him to every single campaign. And he's doing a sort of grassroots engagement, which sees him go to every single ward. We have 361 or 62 wards in Katsina State, and he goes to every single one of these wards, right? So I follow him. And what I've seen, a couple of things in relation to Peter Obi. The first, in most of these areas, there's even no internet connection. They do not know what Twitter is. They do not know, at best, you may have one or two people that may know about Facebook. If you talk to them about Peter Obi, they have no cotton-picking idea who you're talking about. There is not one person in those areas that even know about Peter Obi. So they don't even know about his message, about his vision, about his movement. They don't know about that. And then with those people that know, you know, there's this perception in the north that Peter Obi is an ethnic candidate. They feel that these are the people who know, the elite specifically. They feel that he profiled the Northerners when he was governor of Anambra State, and they feel that he's an IPOB sympathizer. And that doesn't really go down well with the appetite of the North. So you find Peter Obi may get a lot of youth votes in a certain area of the country. He's certainly not going to get it in the North. And if we talk about him having support of the youth, but there are youth in every state in this country, and you cannot dismiss the youth in specifically the northwestern part of the country, which is now, the Northwest is now clearly emerging as the battleground of this election. And whoever takes the Northwest is probably likely, Northwest is probably likely to win this election with a landslide. And I do not see one state in the North that Peter Obi can be able to win. I think even 25% that we're talking about in the Northwest, I don't see a state that Peter Obi can get even up to 3 or 4%. Maybe Kaduna, he maybe get, but it's not going to be up to 25%. And then in the other parts of the North, it's going to be very difficult. So I think Peter Obi probably needs to work on his ability to resonate with the northern electorate. I think in advice for Peter Obi, maybe in the future, maybe after 8 years of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu or beyond, if he's able to continue with his movement, he needs to really find a way to sort of resonate with the northern electorate, because at the moment now, he is persona non grata in the north. That's just the truth. An allegation is just that, an allegation. If there was any credibility to any of the allegations that, or substance to any of the allegations that they made on Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you know, they will have the ability to go to court and pursue those specific allegations. I think this is election season, and prior to this campaign, a lot of some of these allegations, you don't see them in the forefront. So as long as there's no substance to it, because if it was, it would go beyond just the hyperbolic rantings of any of our spokespeople. I know it's our job, and Dino Malay is actually my brother, a very good brother of mine. So, but we have to do our job. So, these allegations are just allegations, and I feel a lot of these allegations against Asiwaju Bola Tinubu are just sort of diversionary tactics to sort of sway us and distract us, and because we're the front runners, and it's almost like watching those make allegations against Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's almost like watching a movie with a drowning man. When you're drowning, you sort of start trying to clutch at every straw in order to survive. So that's I put it down to that. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been investigated for, in 1999 when he was governor of Lagos, some of these allegations came up, and they were all settled, by some people even went to court. So it was settled. So once you've been found innocent in a court and some of these allegations have been dismissed, so why are we bringing them up again? It's not, there's no substance to any of it as far as Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is concerned. I don't really see it so much now, especially with these this CBN regulation where, it has made it very difficult to even gain access to money. We're at a point now where you may have a check of 10 million naira and you take it to the bank and you can only bring out 500,000 because these new notes are not even readily available. And if you're talking about vote buying, we're talking about a lot of money, because these are how many polling stations are there all over the country, and if we're going to vote by, you have to take it to that level. There's 6 million registered voters, even though we don't expect all of them are going to vote. But I don't see vote buying being much of an issue now, because I think we're all playing on a level playing field, because nobody really has access to that kind of money. And at the same time, I'm aware that INEC is making provisions to ensure that it makes it very difficult for any voter to be induced by the way they place the voting table and the voting box or something like that. So I don't see it being much of a problem. And even if it is a problem, that is not something that any of us in APC are actually relying on. Maybe it's something that other parties would have to rely on, because they're the ones that have to do a lot more work in the next 30-something days that we have to the election. People get desperate, don't they? And out of desperation, sometimes you see people react in very vicious ways. I hope there isn't election violence, because if there's violence, people will feel cheated, disenfranchised, and for us, it doesn't work in our favor. What Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants going into this election is for people to feel that they have been free enough to have their say in a way that is so, and if he wins and in a decisive manner, even those who didn't support him will understand that he really won, and then give him the support, because put elections and this whole democracy aside, essentially we're all Nigerians. And at the end of the day, we want to have a healthy country that is united. So no matter what disputes we have now, in the next 30-something days, we hope all that will be put aside after the election, and we can all come together as Nigerians to try to unite ourselves under whichever leader is going to win. So when you bring issues of violence into the fray, it makes it more difficult for people to sort of understand the outcome, because they will feel that, it was induced in one way or another. And I know that the security forces, from what I've heard on TV and so, are doing everything in their power to ensure that they provide as much security as is necessary at every polling station to ensure that there's no violence. And I would urge Nigerians, just as a Nigerian, to, no matter what you feel, what your inclination is, to not be violent or not encourage violence, to allow people to have their say. You know, each one has a right to choose what they want to choose. It may not be what you want, and I think it is vastly unfair. It is actually unacceptable for anyone to even try to enact violence in a way to sort of induce or bully or, you know, to sort of impact on the election. I hope there isn't violence. I really do. Put it into prayer. I'm a lawyer. I'm an author as well. I come from Katsina State, Musawa local government in Katsina State. Both my mom and dad come from there. I'm the daughter of Alhaji Musawa, who's a veteran politician, quite active in, well, a radical politician. He was, in the NEPU days, he was one of those few people that, you know, were radical in Kano during that specific NEPU movement. And he was mentored by Alhaji Malam Aminu Kano, who happens to be my godfather as well. And yeah, so my ideas of politics and freedom and what I want Nigeria to be was couched under the tutelage of my dad and by extension Malam Aminu Kano. And probably that's what brought me into politics. And I've been involved with politics since 2002, 2003. I was part of the Buhari organization then, part of the movement that that sort of grew Buhari over the 3 election cycles that we had. And I've contested for the House of Reps in 2011 in my constituency of Musawa Matazu local government. So yeah, I've been involved in politics, so this is very natural for me. But somewhere along the line, I found myself, from CPC, I was in ACN, which is Tinubu's party. And I've been a great admirer and supporter of the way Tinubu has always fashioned himself as a leader. And the way he, his support, his ability, his great cerebral ability, and his gave him that ability to be able to identify the right people and empower them, and he's done that over the years. You know, he brought people like Vice President Oshibanjo, Minister Fashola, you know, Sanwo-Olu, Dare, Sunday Dare, the Minister of Youth and Sports, and in the north, there's so many people that he's been able to impact their lives. And I've seen the sort of philanthropy that he's done over the years, specifically in the northern parts of the country. And so for me, it was very natural when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged as a candidate to completely, as a politician, and then as someone who admires his style of leadership, to completely go in full hog to give Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu the sort of support. And at the same time, I think many people don't know this about me, I'm also an artist. That's what I love to do. I just really, you can see there's a portrait of my daughter behind you, and I did that. So I'm an artist, and I'm a poet as well. So I'm a published author, and in my book you'll find a lot of poetry, a lot of spoken word, and I think is that area, that creative part of me which I inherited from my father. So that's really what it is about. And of course, as a House of Fulani herdswoman from a very conservative part of the country, I've been lucky to have a platform to be able to speak for my community. So I don't know whether you call people like us feminist or something like that, but if that's what you want to call people like us, I think I'll take it. And I hope to be in a position that I can make a difference in people that look like me, that speak like me, that women and young people, and then people from my part of the country that don't have the ability to, or don't have the opportunity to go to school the way that I did. And like I said to you, I'm a Fulani, House of Fulani herdswoman. Traditionally, my people don't even go to school. And the only difference between me and the other House of Fulani herdswoman that is in the village, maybe gets married at a very tender age and has 50 children by the age of 20, or is selling groundnuts. The only difference is that I picked up a pen and a pencil and my parents took me to school. So, and I hope just by being where I am, I will be able to encourage other women, specifically from my community, to do the same as me, to go to school, educate themselves, and sky will be their limit. What I want from Nigerians is, especially those who are eligible to vote and have their PVC, to hold on to your PVC, to go and collect it if you've not collected it, to make your mind up. Listen to all the candidates. Make your mind up, and on election, go and cast your vote. It's your constitutional right, it's your fundamental right, it's your duty to do so. I want you to stand up for Nigeria, and the only way that you can do it is by speaking for Nigeria. And to speak for Nigeria is to vote for yourself and for the country. And I think we have done enough work in that respect, that if everybody does this, looking at the sort of construct that Nigeria is, I personally have confident that Asiwaju will win this election with a landslide. I want Nigerians to look at the person who has the vision, the character, the capacity, the courage, the clout, the sincerity of purpose to identify, like I said, the most troubling issues of Nigeria and to prefer solutions for it. And we all have our manifestos and our action plans. Let Nigerians interrogate all of them. And I'm confident. I've done a lot of interrogation of all of them, comparison. And all of them are good. I think it would be disingenuous for us to put down anyone's manifesto. The one of PDP, Labour Party, even though it was like pulling teeth to get Labour Party to bring out their manifesto. But it's a very good manifesto, and that of NMPP as well. But if you put them side by side, you will find that Asiwaju's, that of APC has has an edge compared to the others. So Nigerians look at all those variables, and I don't want Nigerians as well to sometimes some of these lies on social media, things taken out of context. There's a lot of things on social media that's taken out of context, and don't judge any of the candidates based on that. A couple of weeks ago, I was actually a victim of one of these taken out of context situations, where I was at an event with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima, and it was an event for disabled and disadvantaged and Almajiri. And as we were sat there, there was one specific man who was completely in distress. He was totally in distress. You could tell. I saw him in the crowd. He was, only God knows what he was going through, but he was in distress. And as we were having the event, somehow Asiwaju's vantage point went straight to that man. He saw the man that was in distress. Kashim Shettima saw that man. They found it within themselves, out of the compassion that is within their heart, to get up, to go into the crowd, to go and bring that man next to them. Because they didn't have to do that, but they felt bad for the man, because you could tell. It was an elderly man, disabled, and completely, my heart broke for him. So they put him next to them, they were talking to him, trying to calm him down, and as they were doing that, you know, as Muslims and Christians, as Africans, what you do in our culture, in our tradition, is you give charity and alms. It is encouraged. So in their magnanimity and their compassion, they gave that man charity. They gave him money. And I was sat there, and I saw that happening. And out of my own conviction to show Nigerians that compassionate side of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima, I took out my phone and took a photo of it, a video, because I wanted Nigerians to see what, the compassion that flows in the blood of these two men. Because one of the things that many people don't talk about when they talk about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is his compassion. He is a very sensitive and compassionate man beyond, you cannot even quantify. I've never come across a politician that has the kind of compassion and philanthropy that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has, and supported by Kashim Shettima. So I felt it was necessary for the world to see this moment of compassion. And I took the video and I posted it. But before you knew it, it was taken out of context. And then they were bribing. But we're not even at the election. And I'm sure that video will come out during election and they will say, oh, we're bribing people. No. So, things, having been a victim of that, even with the other political parties, when I see little clips taken on its own, I don't judge it based on that. I do my investigation. So I want Nigerians to be able to do that, to give everybody a fair field, level playing field, and not to allow people to distort your views of anything based on things taken out of context. I wish you the best. I wish you God's guidance, God's protection, and God's blessing as we go into this very, very important part of our evolution as a people. And may Nigeria remain together, united in our diversity, and may we go from strength to strength, and may we continue to hold our hands as brothers and sisters, no matter what our religion, what our tribe, region, we are one. And we should make the protection of Nigeria at the forefront of everything that we do.
Welcome back. Let me head over from our guest today. Nigerian belongs to every one of us. A time to outline reasons why Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu deserve to be the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. During that statement also, she also mentioned it that we should all go out there to get our privacy and vote our conscience. Not just to vote for a conscience, no, vote for the man that you know is capable, the man that have antecedents, the man that have developmental stride to make this country a better one. So like, come here again, I'm Joseph Onuko Bodijo. Bye for now.